Well, good Wednesday evening to you. Chris Hare here, the world champion crypto cowboy. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about today. The volatility is just through the roof. Everything's going up and down. They're basically wiping out 100x leverage trades right now because there's not a lot of liquidity down here at the bottom. So they're just trying to figure out what's going on, but we're going to break it down tonight. We're going to start off in that hourly chart, and I'm going to give you some targets over the next day or so. Then we're going to get into that 4-hour, that daily, and that weekly chart, and you'll get some middle and long range targets. We'll kind of try to figure out what the direction is. I think we're really close to a decision for the next few months to maybe even a year. But we're going to break it down tonight and figure it out. And stick around the end of the video. I'm going to give you some of my thoughts and kind of trading tips and what I kind of do day to day. But let's go ahead and get into it. We'll start off with the crypto fear and greed index, currently at a 21. It's came down from about a 24 yesterday. This measures market sentiment. It tells us people are scared or if they're greedy. What in the world's going on right now? We're almost into extreme fear. The pullback has everybody scared to death. So we're going to keep working on it. But what I use this for is make small purchases. If we drop back down into extreme fear, I'll buy a little more. Then I sell it off when we get into greed and extreme greed. I already took a little profit off of it when we hit greed the first time. So let's go ahead and get into a liquidation heat map. Let's figure out exactly what's going on. This is what market makers use to track your liquidity. And it seems like the markets are manipulated, and they are, because the market makers don't really use TA. They look for your liquidation points on your short and long-term trades, and that's how they move the charts. Everything above price action is a short trade. Everything below price action is a long trade. And you can see right now, cumulatively, we've got about $10.8 billion worth of short trades on the books, all the way up to about 150,000. But on this long side, we got about 4.94 billion. They've piled in a little more since we kind of made a little run for the upside today, but there's big pockets right here at about 86,000. We've got some down here towards this bottom at about 81,000, and they go all the way down to about $69,000, $70,000. But if we go out on a weekly chart, we'll get a little closer idea of here and now what's going on. It looks like they're trying to push up and grab some of this liquidity to the top side. There's not a lot below us. Cumulatively right now, we've got about $2.96 billion worth of short trades on the books compared to about $656 million. So the imbalance is clearly to the upside. They've got some pockets at 93, 91. You've got a lot up here about $96,000 to $97,000. There's some more up here at 94, but we're building some in down here. There's some about 89,000, 87,000, but we'll figure it out. I think we've got a big decision being made tonight. And over the next couple of days, we'll start off with the 1 hour chart. I post all these charts in the crypto school. You'll find a link to that in my description. Do post signals there from time to time. Haven't posted a lot lately. We're just trying to figure out where all this chop is going. But you'll find a link to that in my description, and let's go ahead and get into it. So we've been in this giant pullback since about January 14th. Since then, we've came down and down and down and just not really found anything. Now we've kind of started to consolidate, just kind of waffling around in here, trying to figure out what to do, trying to get over this daily 50 simple moving average. Haven't done it yet. We've rejected it about, 3 or 4 times today, and it looks like we're about to reject it again. We've kind of tried to make a run up above that hourly simple moving average, which was bullish, but it looks like it's trying to reject it because of the daily 50. So where do we go from here? Well, if we reject this, I think somehow we head down probably to around $86,000. The weekly 50 smooth moving average sits at about 86,171. I think that's our line in the sand. Now, way back here, we dealt with that before. And when we get out on the higher time frames, we'll kind of talk about this a little bit. Even if we drop below this, guys, if we can get a weekly close back above it on Sunday, then I think we're bullish. If we close below it, then I think it gets ugly. 83,985 is this extension. But one thing about these extensions, when you kind of get down into these extensions, you've basically exhausted the move. And this is pulled. I'm trying to figure out where I have this pulled. Right here. Yeah. We're pulled from the swing, the previous swing. So it's an accurate fib. So what I think is probably 83,000 to 86,000. If we do start running up here, which is definitely a possibility, we get over this daily 50, I'm going to start getting bullish. But we lost all this support when we had this pullback, which is kind of disheartening. We might come up here to 91,000 and reject, maybe retest this daily 50 smooth moving simple moving average. If we do that, I think we head on up to our golden zone, 93,000 to 95.6. Your daily 50 smooth moving average sits up there. That would probably be some kind of rejection. But if we get up there, maybe we come down, retest that daily 50. Work on up here to about 100,000, 104,000 before we get another rejection because of the weekly 50 simple moving average sitting up here. That's going to be a super strong resistance to get above. But what you could do is come down and start retesting these averages and work up. If you lose them, you know the thesis, it gets concerning. But we'll figure it out. We'll go on out to that 4-hour chart and kind of figure out what's going on. Before we do that, I want to go back to the 1-hour chart. This Crusader signal that you'll find a link in my description, I've really learned to like it. You can see how these bands tightened up. You can see the red band and the green band here, and then we blew to the top side. It's kind of like a Bollinger Band where when they get tightened up, there's probably a big move in store. Came on up here and we got a sell. If you would have took the sell strength 3, you'd have caught this whole move. It printed the first buy signal down here right at about 87,600. So if we reject, come down here, tap that green line again, you may get another buy signal, and maybe there's an opportunity for upside. But it definitely has me interested. This thing is absolutely amazing on the 5 and 15-minute charts as well. But like I said, you'll find a link to that in my description. All right, getting out to the 4-hour chart, figuring out what's going on. We have broke above this 4-hour retracement zone, but we're having a hard time getting above this daily 50. We've touched it 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And it's been super strong resistance. We knew it would be, but I will tell you, the more times you tap that, the weaker it gets. Hopefully we can get above it, like I said, and start working up to this golden zone about 93,784 to 95,549. Then I would expect to retest back down here to the daily 50, work up to that 100,000, 104,000 that we've talked about with the weekly 50 SMA. Now, let's flip to the other side and be bears. We reject this and start moving down. You can see where that retracement extension is right there on that weekly 50. Like I said, if we can stay above a weekly close, I think we're okay. But if we have a weekly close below it, then I think it's going to start really getting concerning. $80,000 to $76,000 would be your next stops. Moving out to the daily, now we can see that macro sell strength 10 over here. That was back July 16th when we started making all-time highs. And we didn't get one here, but you got one there. You kind of had an idea it was coming, and then it dumped. But if you would have taken it here, we've already got 2 buy strengths coming up, 1 and a 2. We finished this 5-wave move. So my question is here, is this all a wave 1 and we're finding support to work up to a wave 3, 4, 5? I'm not sure. I want to say it is, but this looks also like there's 5 waves right here and we're dumping. This looks like an A. If we reject this 50, then I think that downside is more likely. Lose the weekly 50 smooth moving average. We've lost all the other moving averages. There's not much left. It gets ugly, guys. $60,000, $40,000. There's a head and shoulders on the weekly. I'll show you that in a minute. But let's play the other card. Let's get bullish. If we can get over this 50 simple moving average, this 50 smooth moving average, then I think 109 to 116 is on the cards. Then there's a lot of more questions about getting up to 139 to 155. You can see I've got the bull market trend here, and that's going to have a lot to do with it. But we've got an awful lot of resistance to get up there to it. We've had a death cross on the 50 smooth moving average, or the 200 smooth moving average, and the daily 50 moving averages. Sometimes that signals a local bottom, but give it a few days. If we're in a bearish time, it's going to dump. It's really uncertain tonight what's going to happen, but I think we're really close to a decision. Moving out to the weekly, there's that head and shoulders that I was telling you about. The validation point's going to be somewhere around $83,000. But like I said, you've got this weekly 50. You like my little question mark? Because if we start losing this stuff, this is an A, B, C correction, and that finishes off down around $50,000. The target for this head and shoulders usually comes from your breakout. And I'll move this line over. It basically measured from the top of the head to the bottom of the right shoulder, and it gives you kind of a target of where you're going to go. Like I said, we lose this, retest it, start working down. $50,000 is that target. It's ugly. But like I said, if we can stay above this 50 smooth moving average, then I think we have opportunity for upside. It's going to be a hard climb to get there. Just a lot going on tonight. There's a lot of uncertainty. Hourly, the lower time frames look like they're just in a bunch of chop. There's not a lot of direction there. The hour, the 4 hour, the daily, the weekly, they're just not a lot of direction tonight. So what do I do in these times? Well, I just don't trade. I just sit and watch and wait for some kind of confirmation, some kind of confluence of what's going on. The Crusaders indicator helps. But other than that, I just kind of sit and watch these 50 moving averages and figure out exactly where it's going to go. And if I don't know, sit out. It's the best strategy. That's the way my trading style is. If I don't have a good read, I just sit out. What happens is if you start doing that and you start chasing moves, you start revenge trading, then it gets emotional trading, and then you lose even bigger. So what I recommend is just waiting, using a small portion of your bag when you want to trade. If you're unsure and still want to trade, but lower your leverage, lower your margin. You can get in. You just won't lose as much money. But I'm going to wrap it up with that. Chris Hare, the world champion crypto cowboy. I really appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you down the road.